Ooh, 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 ooh. Ooh, 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 ooh.
Here's Phil to tell you more.
On today's show, we've got a very big, important topic to talk about in gaming. It's something that I've been talking about for quite some time, but is now finally coming to prominence because the parties involved are no longer hiding what they're doing. Today, we're going to be talking about Dark Spadil. I certainly hope that all of you will hang out with me on a nice,
cool Sunday.
Yeah, right. Today actually is quite warm here in Washington, although not as warm as it's been. We had 2 really hot days that were summer-like weather. Today's cooler, but I got my air conditioner on here, and today, by the way, happy Mother's Day, everyone, for those who are celebrating Mother's Day today, because I think it's Mother's Day in many countries, but not all of them. Correct? Certain countries do it differently. Here in the United States, it is Mother's Day, and it is a day when we, honor our mothers and or those who have been motherly to us, like kind of matrons in our lives, people who have matriarchs of the family or stuff like that. I'll just say this without talking too much because, Kat and I are not parents. All right, so are we kitty parents? Yes, we are, but we're not human parents, so we don't really celebrate Mother's Day here in the household. But I always make it a point to call my mother on Mother's Day and have a nice conversation with her, get caught up. Fuck your mother. I mailed her something already. I hope she got it. I don't know if she got it or not because the mail here has been atrocious. I was actually saying this on my late stream last night. So for my mom's birthday, which was last month, I mailed her something, and I mailed it 2.5 weeks early before her birthday, and she got it on her birthday. So the United States Postal Service is not what it once was. It is a shadow of its former self.
They're idiots.
Barely functional. So I wonder if she'll even have what I mailed her in time for Mother's Day today. I have no idea. But I'll just say this, because obviously I don't have much to say, because I'm not really a part of the holiday myself, being a middle-aged male. But I'll just say,
if you're lucky enough to have a mother who's still alive or someone in your life who's been like a mom to you, reach out to them today. Say hello. Find out how they're doing. Say thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for helping me.
pay my bill.
Right? You would be shocked, surprised, and overwhelmed to know how much that can mean to someone. Just a simple, hi, how are you? Happy Mother's Day. I love you. Could mean the world, especially if someone's having a really bad day. All right? Take the effort to do it. I'm calling my mom later today.
We're going to be watching the end of The Walking Dead together. And I remember particularly 2 things about the end of my original Walking Dead playthrough. Number 1,
I was drunk.
because this episode of Walking Dead, it was actually in the middle of the night when this episode released. I remember I was waiting for the episode to come out, and I think it came out at like 2 a.m. So I had been drinking. And I said, oh, I'm going to play it now. And I went and played the episode at like 2 in the morning, drunk as hell on rum. So I know this episode, I'm probably like slurring my words and sounding really stupid. Will Helldivers 2 actually get an audience and be interesting, or are people done with it? And the reason I say that is I played it 2 weeks ago on a night stream. People were bored, they were disengaged.
And it was actually one of my lowest supported streams I've ever seen.
Regardless of the game, but even it definitely was the lowest like engagement and support stream I'd ever seen of Helldivers 2. It's like people were kind of like done with it. So I want to do it one more time Monday night and see what happens and see if that changes. Okay, Tuesday, more Fallout 4, and Tuesday night I'm returning to Street Fighter 6 after this 4-day hiatus to come back to it and try to get Zangief ranked up to Master. At this point, I'm just not feeling too positive about it. after Friday night being so frustrating and just really annoying me all night. Come on, man. Do you want to play the fucking game? Just kill me.
Yo, you fucking suck.
I don't know what's going to happen with it. I hope for the best, but I'm not, like I said, I'm not really feeling, oh, yeah, I'm so great that we're going to hit it or anything. I guess we'll see, though. All right. I want to talk about this big news story because this is something that I've been talking about for a very long time. And every time I mention it, I get a lot of people who kind of, they come back at me and they're like, oh, Phil, no. You see, you're full of it. You're angry because you're not an insider in the industry and you're not one of the selected few that gets everything for free and gets everything early and yada, yada, yada. I used to be a very prominent YouTuber.
What?
It was a long time ago, but I was actually regarded as one of the top YouTube gamers in the world.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
I was like maybe arguably top 20 channels for gaming at one point. I was never as big as the biggest, but definitely people came to YouTube to watch me play hot new games, to cover them and see what they were on release day. They would want to see my playthrough before they made a judgment about playing a game. Back then, things were very different from today. There was no opportunity whatsoever for you to get early access to a game. Instead, everyone was on equal footing. You had to go to GameStop, you had to go to your local store, whatever it was, to buy the game physically. It was around 2015-ish that everything started to go digital. Now you could pre-order games online, you could get everything loaded to your console early. And this also is when the practice of certain people getting early access to games becoming commonplace. But before that ever happened, everyone was equal. The only people who got early access copies were actually established gaming journalists. Now, I say that loosely like this today because today that criteria is very loose, but back then, you actually had to work for one of these major publications, you know, IGN, GameSpot, you know, one of these things that everyone knew. Then you would get a game early, you'd review it early. If you worked hard to pre-order, get there, get home, get the game booted up, and start uploading right away, you would get the day one boost in attention and views because of your hard work.
And I was one of the guys known for always having that hot new game
on release day, putting out the playthrough within 1 to 2 days. I was done with the game, and then I was on to the next, and you could see an early playthrough of that game right on YouTube and judge for yourself if you wanted to buy it. That was where I made my name back in the day. Today, in the modern era, you may notice it's very rarely when anyone gets to play a game on release day and no one else does. In fact, I was just talking about Street Fighter. There's already people who have the Street Fighter patch. They have Akuma. They have all the balance changes. They're playing it already.
Oh?
We're like, whoa, shit. Like, that's fucking nuts. It doesn't come out for another week and a half. Why does a select group get access to this and get to make content of it, but not everybody else, right?
Can you get the game? No, but they can.
They can get monstrous amounts of free press from people by giving them the game early. And the thing is, it's kind of this, what's the word? You scratch my back, I scratch yours, kind of a relationship. It's not necessarily parasitic, but there's a word where it's like two things working together, and I can't remember what that exact word is. I'm sure someone will say it in the chat now. When they send you these early games, there is always an agreement you must sign in order to have access to these games. There is never a single instance where they will just mail you something and say, here it is. Okay? There's been a few instances for me that did happen, but that was because Machinima, my old partner network, had no fucking idea what they were doing. Sometimes they would mail me a game I didn't even ask for. They mailed me, I think, Rock Band once, or was it Guitar Hero? I didn't even ask for it. They just sent it to my house. I was like, what the fuck is this? Idiots. Okay? Marvel Rivals is a game, as I already stated. It kind of plays like Overwatch, only you control characters from the Marvel Universe. The Hulk, Thor, Spider-Man, you know, all these really cool, notable characters from, especially from the MCU recently. So people are currently playing it in the early alpha stage, meaning it's not even in beta yet. It's just alpha. They're designing the game based on, you know, feedback and the like. And right now, some streamers already seem to have keys and they're playing it and they're handing out keys to others on their streams. You'll find social media right now is full of posts about Marvel Rivals. Well, guess what? Someone whistle blew.
Someone spilled the beans.
extremely disappointed in at Marvel Rivals. Multiple creators asked for key codes to gain access to the playtest, and they're being asked to sign a contract. The contract signs away your right to negatively review the game. Many streamers have signed without reading just to play the game. Insanity.
Wait, huh? Or providing subjective negative reviews of the game. It didn't say providing subjective reviews. It said providing subjective negative reviews of the game. Literally in the contract for Marvel Rivals to get alpha access, it says you can't criticize the game negatively. You can only say it's good. You ever see National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation where Clark Griswold gets on the sled, the metal sled, and he puts the lubricant on it, and he sits down, and he just careens forward like a rocket through town.
And it burns a hole in his ass.
Most people have no problem with it. Most people think that this process is fine and dandy, acceptable, and should just continue. It's fine that people can lie to us about games, or at least be only half truthful about games so they can benefit. That's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So you're okay with being lied to. You're okay with being lied to. You're literally okay with being told half-truths. You like the fact that there's content creators that every day they turn on that camera and they turn on their broadcast, they're just advertising to you. That's fine. As long as you get a little laugh out of it or you're entertained. You're not getting any worthwhile content. It's literally just for money, just a shill, but you're okay with this. And there's people out there who are like, yeah, that's fine. Now the camera's not centered. So that's really weird because that should have been. This goes all the way back to the days when I called out Tobuscus. Toby Turner. You guys remember Toby Turner? No one else does. But Toby Turner, who's now fallen from grace and no one watches or likes anymore, taste the salt.
At one point was known as one of the big YouTube gamers, even though he wasn't a gamer. He was a guy who made stupid songs and then started playing games only when they were monetizable. He was actually one of the worst when it came to that. Like, he literally did everything for money, and that was it. He decided that he was going to do all these ad campaigns for video game companies, notably EA Sports. EA Sports. The dude has never touched a game in his life, a sports game. But he got a big contract because he was prominent on YouTube. Literally, all his ads are just shilling the game, you know, doing stupid jokes, and those ads are running on other gamers' content, including mine. And I called it out. I said, get these fucking ads off my videos. They have no place being on my videos. Number one, they're shilling a product the guy doesn't play. They're completely dishonest. The guy's not even a fucking gamer. This is blatant fake advertising, saying something that is real is not, and this doesn't belong on YouTube, okay?
Today, the content people were putting out is ads, constant ads. And people are so ignorant because it's just the industry now. No, it's not. There's real people making content. They just don't get paid tens of thousands of dollars for it. Every single time they boot up a game, they don't make $1,000 because they're normal fucking people like you and me. They're the ones who are going to be honest about a game experience, but they don't get the game 2 weeks early because they didn't kiss butt and they care about being honest and transparent with their audience. They don't want to lie to get ahead and make the bag. But this is what the whole industry has become. I've been talking about this for over a decade. And everyone always says, I'm crazy. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm a conspiracy theorist. I got a tinfoil hat on. If you know someone who's a content creator who literally, they get everything early, special treatment, right? Like there's some fucking special snowflake on this planet that's better than you, and they get everything early. Why the fuck would you support them? The whole system of going to GameStop, trading in a bunch of games for premium credit, using that credit to then buy the next group of games, because you pre-ordered the games, you got a bunch of free swag and stuff, right? And then if you bought the collector's edition, you got a bunch of cool collectibles and statues and hats and shit. Those days are long gone. That entire industry has been destroyed by the digital era and the era of everyone getting the games early. What is the incentive, right? There's zero incentive to do any of that shit anymore. It's all gone.